Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Commissioner Chronicles. That's right, Commissioner Chronicles on the DLF YouTube channel. We're back, episode 13. We had 12 episodes to start this series in the off season. And folks, we're starting off this year with basically how we start the off season. Today's Commissioner Chronicles is going to be on transitioning your league from basically Championship Monday, Sunday, Monday to starting your off season. And I'm recording this on Commishmas Eve. I affectionately call the day where I send out payouts, ask people who are leaving, even start filling spots as well. I call that Commishmas. So we're on Commishmas Eve right now as I'm recording, but we're evergreen. So this is specifically talking about how you get set, how you are transitioning from the end of the fantasy football season to the beginning of the Dynasty fantasy football season or the off season. So the first thing that I do as a commissioner for the fantasy football off season is I send an end of year email. I always say, everyone, thanks so much for being a part of this league. I really appreciate all you guys. And then I send out a layout of who won the league and the payouts that are in each specific league. Usually my leagues pay out first, second, third, and some other payouts as well. I also have, award type payouts, and usually the Heisman is paid out by now. But as I'm doing my payouts, the Heisman has not been awarded yet, so that will be rewarded later in the off season. And obviously, NFL MVP and NFL OROY are announced later, but those are more intricacies involved. But essentially, I start my off season by sending this end of year email, thanking everyone for being a part of the league, and I say in bold capital letters, once you have read this email, let me know you've read this email. So many league mates read that email and then don't say, hey, I read that email. Yes, I'm returning. No, I'm not returning. And that response is the most important part of starting your offseason as a fantasy football league, as a dynasty football league commissioner. So try and engage your managers as much as possible, trying to get them to respond to that end of your email and show them, okay, these are the payouts, these are the people that that have been paid out. And for me in my leagues, I wrongfully sometimes it's twice in my time of doing this, and granted I've paid out a ton of leagues, but twice in my time I've had people say, oh well, you didn't give me my full funds, I don't want to come back next year. But more often than not, you can assume that people are coming back, and so I subtract the 2021 I subtract the next year's dues from their payment. So if they won $200 in a $25 league, I send a PayPal of $175 to them, and so I send my payouts. That's one way to gain some trust and just create activity in the league. Honestly, is send out those payouts as quickly as possible. You do want to be sometimes wary of stat corrections. If you do have a championship or third place game that is tight and possibly can be changed by stat corrections, you might want to push back your Commishmas a little bit. But more often than not, you're good to go to pay out on that Tuesday. Now I will say, like I said, in that opening email, you're wrapping up the season. You're putting how much each person has won, and you're basically saying, okay, if you are returning, this is how much you owe, and then engaging on hoping that people respond to the email saying, okay, I'm coming back, or okay, I'm not coming back. Now, one way to engage people and get that payment as quickly as possible, if they are coming back, if they didn't win money, is to activate trade rights. All my leagues have a trade deadline that start in the playoffs, and how the best way to encourage people to get to pay is by giving their trade rights back as soon as they pay. So people will be in the league chat and saying, oh, I want to trade. I'm like, okay, send your payment. And as soon as they pay, then I activate trade rights. And then you have a couple people that have trade rights making trades, and then someone who doesn't have their trade rights, like, oh, I want to get my trade rights, and they make their payment. So that is one way to try and speed up the process. I've been talking with my hands a lot this episode. Speed up the process of getting your payments is by activating those trade rights as soon as those payments come in, or even for your teams that won money, you give them those trade rights immediately because you're withdrawing it from their payment, and then you're giving them their trade rights. So that's good to go. Next, you have one of the more difficult parts of being a Dynasty commissioner is people leaving. So I try and stress throughout the end of the season, pretty much from like week 12, 13 to week 16. I'm saying, if you're leaving, let me know. If you're leaving, let me know. Because the sooner, the better. Because I have a spreadsheet that I put together of the leagues that I commish and the assets that are going to be involved in terms of if there's multiple teams in a dispersal, or even if it's just one team. Okay, this is how I'm going to advertise this spot, this opening in this league is, okay, they have this roster, this is the amount that the buy-in is, and this is what picks they have, things like that. So yeah, so make sure you are, building that up as the end of the season. It's more work at the end if, you just wait until the end of the season, like, okay, these are the people that left. So make sure to get get the information from people that are leaving, and for once the people have gone, then it's time to fill those spots. We have talked about filling spots in a previous Commissioner Chronicles. I believe we talked about it with Ryan a little bit. But obviously, your big sources of filling those league spots is Twitter, is Dynasty Football Forum, the Help Wanted Forum, and pretty much any other message board that has Dynasty League talk on it is a good spot to find those Dynasty League owners for orphans. So yeah, the next step after you have all those people who have left is filling those spots, and then once you have filled those spots, you have the dispersal. So for those that don't know, a dispersal draft or a dispersal auction is all of the assets involved from the teams that left put together. So if two teams left, all their assets, their picks, their roster, anything else that could be involved with the team, put into a dispersal draft or auction, and the new teams participate. I often encourage allowing for current managers to participate in dispersals as well by throwing their own team in, but that's another wrinkle. But the reason why I do that is because dispersal drafts are, outside of the startup, the busiest time for my leagues. I see trades between people that aren't even involved in the dispersal, making trades during the dispersal, because it seems like it's the only time people are getting all together than the startup. So, the dispersal is a great time for action, whether you're being a part of it, whether you're, just watching it. So I often encourage, as much as possible, allow for obviously the new owners to participate in dispersal, and allow current managers to participate in dispersal. So that is pretty much your end of year stuff, going line by line. You send out the payments, you activate trade rights, you take a survey of who is leaving. Once you know who is gone, you fill those spots with new people from Twitter, from forums, and from message boards. And then once you have filled those spots, you can conduct a dispersal. So that is really the go-to. It's a little bit of a shorter one today, but those are the step-by-step process of taking your league from the previous season to the following season. And I also like to encourage Dynasty commissioners to do this as soon as possible. I like to do it this week, the week between New Year's and Christmas, because I'll be honest, this is the one of the weeks I work. One of the weeks I work the least of the year, and I think that's the case for many people as well. So if you can get as many of those commissioner duties done ASAP, like I know people that wait until the Super Bowl. I know people that wait until March. I just think that's such a long wait. And also another advantage of being the first, person filling your leagues is that there is a crop of people that are excited to join new leagues. Maybe they've just joined their first Dynasty league this year and like, oh, I need to add 3 more leagues, and take advantage of that excitement and get people into your league. Now, the later you go, the shorter the amount of people, the shorter the list of people that want to join leagues. So yes, you want to get the best people possible, but also you want to make sure you're filling those spots. And the longer you wait, the harder it is going to be fill those spots. The earlier you are in the process, the easier it is to fill spots, in my opinion. So be proactive as a commissioner, send out your payments, activate trade rights, make sure you get everyone who is leaving, and get on it. Don't just say, oh, this person hasn't replied, but I'm sure they're going to return. Try and get as much information as possible and make sure you know who is leaving, because the last thing you want is for you to conduct the dispersal. And this is the one disadvantage of doing your dispersal so quickly, is make sure you aren't doing your dispersal and then have someone the next week who wasn't in the dispersal saying, oh, by the way, I'm leaving the league. Just making sure you get that connection with the manager and saying, okay, you're staying? Cool. I have your payment. Great. Now here's your trade rights. Once you have all that going, you're on to your next season. So that's pretty much it as far as turning your league over to the following season. There is, I believe I've talked about, some MFL rollover stuff that I believe I'll probably discuss in late January, early February as well. But that's your end of your league email. If you follow those steps, those are the steps that you make at the end of December, early January. That is the best way to turn over your league, get active. People like to take January off for activity. No, that's when activity gets hot. That's when that's one of the most active months of the offseason for me. It's probably January because of the dispersals, and then April, May because of rookie drafts, rookie auctions, Devy drafts. So be proactive, do things as quickly as possible for yourself, and make sure that you are engaging with your managers. Make sure that they know, what you're looking for as a commissioner. You're looking for that quick response. And that's the other thing, is that I feel like when you wait longer, the other people are less likely to engage with you quickly. So make sure that, if you want people to be quick in their response, you be quick in your own response. So make sure you're doing that as your Dynasty League commissioner. Also make sure that you have subscribed, rate, review, like, all that great stuff. Like that. Did you just click like? You liked it. Okay. You liked it. You subscribed. Dynasty League Football Channel, Commissioner Chronicles, episode 13. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions on turning over your league from championship mode to offseason mode, I'm happy to help on Twitter at NPowellFF. Once again, happy to help, Commissioner. Anytime you need it, let me know. Happy to help. See you guys next week.